welcome back to this week's episode of the Steady Stackin Weekly AMA Recap. Now, if you guys watched our normal weekly recap, you'll know that things are going a little bit differently around here. Because there has been so much value and so much high-quality content coming out of Ready Player H and Xanshake's AMAs, we have decided to actually split our weekly show into two separate segments. We thought that, quite honestly, because of the level of content that's coming out of these AMAs, we couldn't fit it all into just one 15-minute show. So we've decided to split off and make our own weekly AMA recap that goes through some of the highlights, some of the best moments from each individual AMA, gives our thoughts, our context, and generally tries to explain what the core ideas behind each AMA was. We're trying to bring you those little tidbits of value that come out through listening to 2, 3, 4 hours of content a week, and we're trying to bring it straight to you. So obviously things are a little bit different. Unfortunately, we couldn't get Tony in here because of some recording difficulties. We're working with the new software this week, as you can probably tell from our bit of a higher quality video here. So we're working with a little bit of different software, and unfortunately we weren't able to get Tony in here, but don't you worry, she'll be back by next week. I want to kind of just dive straight into the content because we have a lot to get through in this recap this time around. So I'm going to go right into it. In our first clip that you'll see here that's already on the screen, this is the first AMA. We're going to be talking about who are our Titans and Grunts, who are the core demographic that's going to be represented in this group. We're going to be going over the current state of the NFT market and how Steady Stack is working to improve that state, what collabs mean to Steady Stack, and who those future collaborations might come from. We're talking about bad whitelist habits that ruin projects and how Steady Stack is working to change that. We're also talking about how Steady Stack is going to work and solve Web2 efficiency through digital receipts and other methods, along with how cash flow is going to be vital to the success of the project. I know I said Steady Stack a lot in that, but bear with me. Let's dive straight into this video because I am very interested. I personally haven't watched this whole thing, so I'm super excited to see what Rhea and the rest of the team have compiled for us. So let's dive right into it.
I love what Spectre is doing as well, guys. I think a big recurring theme that you guys are going to see on these spaces is the topic of day one utility and why it's so important and why I think it's exactly what the space needs to really push things forward. I think we've started to evolve from the PFP stage. We've evolved from the point where nobody knew what NFTs were, and there were only a few people who knew how to launch these projects. And they started off really as Kickstarters or VC rounds of funding, but now you're seeing projects really emerge where they're bringing unique pieces of value to the market, and they're moving business models, traditional business models from Web 2 over to Web 3. And that's where an exponential jump happens for the actual experience of the at the end of the day, there is a few types of avatars, right? An avatar is really just the type of person who would make a good fit inside Steady Stack, right? It's there's a couple different types of people who may make a really good fit, right? And so there's a couple core demographics. One would just be, at the end of the day, we are building an investor Illuminati, and this is our genesis, so they are going to be given the most value. And a lot of times, you need to be able to be in a position where you can even take advantage of that value, right? I can bring you alpha, I can bring you crypto calls, I can bring you NFT, options calls from 7-figure traders, I can bring you investment opportunities, AMAs, a network for you to be able to collab with, right? But if you're not in a position yourself to be able to leverage that, then it can actually take away from the community rather than give to it, right? And so really, in terms of core demographic, I would say anybody who can come into an ecosystem like what we are building and add to it and take advantage of the value that we're bringing to it, that's our core demographic, right? And so it could be a various number of people, right? It could be somebody like yourself, Ria. I read your application, right? It could be somebody like yourself with the experiences that you do have in business, and you're self-employed, and you call your own shots, and you're trying to grow your financial freedom and grow your network, right? That could be somebody like you. It could be somebody who's a whale, right? Who's looking to really be a part of one of the top communities. It could be somebody with an extremely, extremely high desire to be like everybody else inside the group. Somebody like Tony Sosa, right? That's who comes to mind, right? So it could be a various number of different demographics. But really, just think, if you want to know who should be a part of what we're building, just think, based on all the value that we're providing, all the different things that we're trying to bring you guys and give you guys access to, like Xanadu, I mean,
area where we're
Ooh,
uh,
ooh.
like Xanadu.
So, okay, what Ready Player H says in this moment is really, really interesting to me because we know that not everyone in the study stack community is going to be god level players that are whales that do have super high value things to share, and they need those people in the community who aren't quite at that level because they are going to be the people that they can rise up and bring with them when they're moving to the top. So if you're in this community and you're trying to become a titan, as me and a lot of the podcast team are, you need to get out there and try to provide value in chat and build community initiatives like the one that we're working on here. It's all about participation and showing that you really want this.
I mean, it's been an amazing experience, and it's been a blessing, and I really am looking forward to taking over the space with each and every one of you because, truth be told, the bar has just been set far too low in NFTs, and I think
True.
I say it's nobody's fault because I don't want to point fingers, right? But it's just like, you see a project like Bored Ape Yacht, and then everybody thinks that they can just start a PFP project from a creator standpoint, and everybody from an investor standpoint is looking for a 100x return. And so it just becomes a shit show of creators who aren't really building an amazing product, and then investors who aren't really doing enough due diligence. And it becomes a perfect marriage for tons of liquidity to go into a space. But it's a very high likelihood for rugs. And so, the bar has been set pretty low, and it's up to us and it's up to the creators to really step up and push that forward because this technology just has so much potential. Like I've never even questioned minting out because I know that we're just providing a superior product, right? And if the product's good, then it shouldn't be too hard to really show that to people and market it, right? Like we're talking to literally some of the biggest projects in the space in terms of long-term partnerships and collabs, projects like LawReverse, Dogepound, Gojira, and it's like My Pet Hooligans, every single one of them, when they hear about the product, when they hear about the value, when they hear about the approach, it speaks for itself, and they want to be a part of it from the ground floor. And that's what it's all about. It's trailblazing a new standard in the space, rather than giving away all of your spots through allow lists and collab giveaways and just kind of doing levels and invites. Oh my god, I hate, like, levels and invites was like a point in the space where, like, I really lost faith.
I agree with
Proof
that
of concept.
completely.
And I think, honestly, that's the way it should be. I mean, people are always saying, oh, 7.5K members, like, this is the highest engagement I've ever seen. But ask yourself why. It's because there's actually value there. They've been giving something. They're not just being asked to invite people left and right with no value given to them. They're not asked to just type, mindless spam, GM, GN, and just, mindless conversation all day, like we've seen with so many of these projects in the past. And quite literally, like, that's what sets the space up for failure. Automating whitelist thread, months and months ago, and that was one of the things that kind of took my page a little bit viral and put it a little bit on the map, was automating whitelist. Well, hey guys, if you can automate the whitelist process, right, especially with levels and invites, it's so easy to automate, right? There's no inherent value being generated there really isn't.
So this entire section has been about like the problems in the NFT space, and Zan is right. When I got into the NFT space, it was whitelist grinding nonstop. That was the only thing that people did. You'd go into a Discord and find people just spamming in general chat, trying to get to level 12 and invite 12 people. It was disgusting, and I love that Study Stack is changing that.
We're going to scrap the status quo and we're going to do it our own way. We're going to handcraft it the way that we think should be done best. And so that's why about 70 to 80%, or rather, it's going to be anywhere between 70 to 80% of our whitelist is going to be handpicked. That's a vast majority. And so why are we doing it this way? Because if we're building a specific product with a specific vision, with specific pieces of value, right? Do you just want anybody in there, or do you want the people who are going to be most happy to be in there, or the people who are going to be able to leverage it to the highest extent to be in there, right? And so rather than leaving a lot of this up to chance, right, we wanted to start that really culture from the ground floor and from the grassroots. And so that's what the Titans are all about, right? And so there will be spots in the ecosystem for anybody who doesn't make it into a Titan, right? And most likely, I mean, that's most likely a place that may be better for you to actually grow and develop. Because if we focus the Titans all on educational material, we may not reach the ceiling that we're looking to reach. I mean, the Titans is less about learning and more about the absolute pinnacle of opportunity and resource and network for investors, a lot of the higher level people. But our grunt collection will be way more focused on education and getting you up to that speed, right? And so it's all about creating that ecosystem, creating that family, creating that environment, and that's why we chose to handpick the whitelist. um, NFTs replace physical assets. I guarantee you they need to be able to replace digital assets first. It's just the first logical step. It's just the
He's
intermediary
right.
between digital and physical is digital and digital. And so that was the blessing for us, right? We had a digital product as is. It's already been built out. It's not in beta. I'm not taking this money to be able to raise money to be able to build this product. It's already been built out. And so, matching digital product with digital which NFTs, which are literally digital receipts, digital right management, as a whole. I mean, that's the first step. This tweet real quick. Becker had like a golden tweet the other day. Okay, perfect. If you want to get rich in crypto, find a business model where excessive time or money is being wasted, fix it with crypto, and sell it. I did this to build Hyros. Lack of ad tracking causes big ad loss. Basically, you sell a $100 bill for $20. You want to have fun? Build games and NFTs. I think that's what he's doing, right? Because you start with this, which is why subscriptions and NFTs are so powerful. And I have to mention this because I feel like people don't understand this, and why NFTs are really, really so powerful is that they change traditional Web2 business models and they exponentiate the potential and the value exchange and the value creation that can be had inside these ecosystems. Okay. And so I'll give you this really quick example. Let's say you have Monday.com. It's a project management tool. Okay. They have a monthly subscription and they have a yearly subscription. You buy the yearly subscription because you're a brand new business and it's cheaper per month and you're going to need project management. Well, 6 months goes by, your business breaks, all your employees leave, and you no longer need them, right? So you no longer need the project management tool. Well, you paid Monday.com. There is no way in hell you're getting your money back. You already used it for 6 months. There's no refund policy. Okay, you paid it, now forget it. Okay. And a lot of times I don't even cancel these subscriptions because I forget to, and it's annoying to, right? Now imagine if you had an NFT of this subscription. What can you easily now do since you have insurance in the fact that it's an NFT? You can actually go and sell it and flip it on the secondary market. And so it gives insurance to the holder or the original person who minted. It gives value to everybody on the secondary market to be able to come in and buy that NFT with less of a time frame as an MVP, minimal viable product, before they buy the full thing. And it allows creators, right? Creators may complain that, oh, hey, where's the value for us? I am losing some value. And it's like, no, because one, you get the trading volume, but two, you get to really create a stronger ecosystem because you played with the supply and demand dynamics and allowed to show how valuable your product really is by creating that scarcity. And Ryan Pineda very closely, because I think Ryan's going to be able to lead a lot of this type of stuff in the space, because he's just really deep in real estate and he's also really deep in crypto and NFTs. And it's like when you marry the two, you really start to and especially with his business background, right, you really start to be able to make strides. And people like yourself will be.
Ryan Pineda is going to be one of the biggest figures in this space. I just want to toss this out there because I had the blessing to be on a one-on-one meeting with him a little while back prior to his big involvement in the NFT space. And even then, his ideas were crazy. He was all about digital real estate. And now watching him build out the NFT, it's like his predictions all came true. It's really amazing.
Be able to stand on the back of those titans who led the way first, took the risk first, probably spent more money to achieve very similar things that you'll want to do in the future. So I would definitely keep an eye on him. And then one piece of advice that I can offer, that like a surprise type thing, but one of our advisors is a 9-figure real estate developer of assisted livings, multifamily, single family, and he will be doing very frequent AMAs. He may even do one pre-mint, so that's a little bit of alpha for you all, right? He might even do an AMA pre-mint. But one of the things that attracts him so much about what we're doing is because he sees the way we think about NFTs and how we understand them, and he wants to be able to turn NFTs into a real estate fund structure, right? And so, if he's part of our ecosystem, then it's inevitable for things, related to real estate to come under Steady Stack in the future, but it's just not the core focus right now. And again, I like to focus on today. It's an open-ended question. You could go really either way with that. I mean, I will say, like, for example, we have one person inside the community. I was reading this in the application. Really high quality individual from Neo Tokyo as well. He's actually looking to turn, like a fund model. He's making a crypto fund, and he wants to turn a crypto fund model into, and merge it with NFTs, right? And so, one way that he wants to build on top of Steady Stack is he wants to, provide like call outs, alpha, things
This
like
is
that in the
really
chat.
brilliant.
But on top of that, he wants to provide anybody inside Steady Stack to be able to whitelist for his project. So it's like those are ways that you can definitely build, is just like give back to your people, build those connections. And obviously, if it's a very strong project with a very strong team and based in value, then you'll probably get the cosign from us as well, and be like, hey, like, I'm probably going to mint this, or whatever the case may be, or outside, with the group, right? It really just depends on which way the wind really takes you, and what makes the most sense.
I'm sure, I don't want to speak for RPH, but I'm sure.
So when I hear this from Ready Player H, that members inside of the group are thinking about building these projects, it is crazy to me the value that they have compiled inside of Steady Stack, and it proves that what they're trying to do is completely viable.
As they grow and they need, they need a fit for positions within the business. I'm going to look to places where my friends have kind of cultivated these areas, and I trust that there's people of value there, because let me tell you, in the beginning of starting a business, you go out and you listen to people, and it's a very how do I say this? Just basically, it's good to have. Let me bring it back to, it's good to have a good network of people that you trust and can call on for resources. So that's a big part of Steady Stack that I'm looking forward to. If you guys are C# developers, if you're Unity developers, if you're pixel artists, if you're looking for an opportunity, we're working with a couple local universities in my area where we're reviewing applications for internships and then turning into part-time positions and things like that. But these are things that I think are coherent values for Steady Stack that might be overlooked.
I really appreciate that. And future, just so I can chime in real quick, I really appreciate that, JPEG. And we actually are adding a talent recruiting section very soon. So I'm sure you'll find that as home, and that'll be a really, really good place for people to share their skills, and build things together. And just like JPEG said, like, we're going to have a lot of roles to fill. We're going to have a lot of positions to hire. And, Steady Stack will even offer the community abilities to apply for those positions and come and provide that value. Like literally yesterday, we had a member who came up and he was like, "Hey, man, I see that you guys are like not only collabing but building longer term partnerships where you're giving your algo or pieces of your algo, like the algo bot, to other projects like LawReverse or Gojira or Doge Pound, right? Because that's been something that we're working on." And so he came up and he was like, "Hey, like, I would love to work on this. I'd love to man this. I'd love to lead this initiative." It's like there will be countless opportunities like that, and then countless individuals like JPEG who are building high caliber and high quality projects, and they're also looking into these pools and these places to recruit and bring together talent. So stoked about, guys. Like, literally, like, our YouTube channel is already popping off, and it's been like 10 videos so far. Like, it's already getting tons of growth relative to what we usually see. And like, we'll get a YouTube channel making 5 to 8K a month usually within a year. This channel should make way more than that, and like, those will be the cash flowing vehicles beyond trading volume for us to be able to sustain ourselves, our staff, our expansion. Nobody's really done this type of stuff yet. So
He's going to use
more or less.
So Steady Stack using YouTube channels as a revenue source is one of the most brilliant things that I could possibly come to mind, because they're leveraging that community and that need for educational content and turning that into money. They're literally taking our desire for knowledge and monetizing it in a way that no other crypto project has ever done. Xan and RPH's approach to this project and actually creating a cash flowing business is wholly unique in the space, and I'm in love with it.
But man, no, there's just so many fun things that we want to do. Like, we're going to be investing in things like crypto mines. We're talking to a publicly traded company right now to be able to potentially host all the miners for Steady Stack and any members inside Steady Stack. So there's just a lot of things that we want to do, and a lot of these things, they cost money, they cost upfront, and we need to be able to build sustainable cash flow so that we can do all this. Like, I'm adding up and tallying up how much expenses we may have with employees and stuff, and it's like, it's not cheap if you want to run a good operation. I mean, literally, it's all within arm's reach. I think that's like what I just got out of what you just said. It's like, it's literally right there. You guys are on the space with 200 other people. I'm not gonna lie. Whenever I see somebody influential who hops into our space, I click on them, I DM them, good to connect, handshake emoji every single time. And now I just made a connection. So it's like, it's literally within arm's reach, guys. You just have to go out and you just gotta make the effort, make the initiative, and like, look what can come of it. I mean, we had that conversation probably a couple months ago, and now we're 6 weeks in where we've done this every single week. We haven't missed a beat. We've seen what, Neo Tokyo can do, Spectre can do, these amazing projects Bored Ape can do. We can easily recreate an environment, if not better, by standing on the back of these titans and seeing what they've done and improving upon, and just continuing to grow and build together. So guys, thank you so much for coming out. Please come out to the next one. We'll be waiting for you guys. And there's a lot of exciting stuff to come. If you haven't filled out the whitelist application form, make sure you do so. I left it open for one more day because I always know that there's stragglers who who feel like filling things out on the last second and they miss it. So
All right, everyone, that will wrap it up for that first AMA recap clip. I know this is going very, very long, but the level of value that is being provided and just the thoughts that Ready Player H is sharing, even to me, who's not able to make it to all of these AMAs, is really, really interesting to hear, especially when he talks about real estate and using cash flow to build out an NFT company. We are literally watching one of the biggest NFT projects form in front of our faces, and it's kind of crazy to think about. So gonna have to do a little bit of resizing here over to make sure that this next video clip fits fully on the screen. Boom, size that up there. This over here. And we're gonna have to size this down a little bit. Bam. Put that center screen. And there we go. And we're fully up and running. So this AMA in particular is going to be primarily surrounding what is the vision for Steady Stack, what the opportunities inside of the project are, and some of the products that are going to be developed by Steady Stack for holders and to create cash flow. So this is the biggest thing for me because we saw snippets of that in that previous AMA clip where where RPH was talking about the YouTube channel and about everything else that's happening. And in this one, we're going to see them fully dive into that and explain their vision behind the cash flow and behind the project as a whole.
It's an investor Illuminati. If you think that the only value here is the algorithm or trading or day trading or signals or alpha, like you're in the wrong place. Like that is only step one.
I had this issue earlier when I tried to record. Just got to get through it. First couple of seconds of the video.
Is just a product. Okay? Steady Stack is the brand. Titans are a product. Steady Stack is the brand. So what does that mean? Well, we can have infinite amount of products under our brand, right? We can expand into YouTube products. We can expand into e-commerce products. We can expand into real estate products. So many.
Will say if this video continues to malfunction,
what are we building? We're not building just one NFT collection. We're building a brand. So yes, I mean, all these things that we talk about, right? If I mention e-commerce so much, if I mention real estate so much, if I mention YouTube so much.
Come on, don't die on me here. I want to get through this whole thing.
Like, yes, we are looking for ways to bridge those things into Web3. That's going to allow us, everybody always tosses around the term bridge the gap, but how are they really doing it? That's going to allow us to really be essentially the first leader who's able to bridge that gap in a major way. And the reason why is because what we're doing is our Titans are going to get a lot of value, right? Honestly, they're going to get the most value out of any collection probably ever inside this ecosystem, right? And there's a lot of things that we haven't even mentioned yet. Like, I know some of you guys are going to pick up on this just if I say this, but the day the contract comes out, the smart contract comes out, you guys are going to realize things that, were never mentioned previously. And that's because you can go in the code and you can learn things. Right, and so things will become very apparent just by reading the code.
Smart contract.
But essentially, our Titans are going to get a lot of value. Okay, there's a lot of value that the Titans get that are actually offered in Web2 businesses as monthly subscriptions or yearly subscriptions. I'll give you an example. We have the legendary Bo, who's on here. Everybody, give it up for Bo if you're on here because he's an absolute legend, right? But for example, Bo, he's a multi-7-figure trader. Dude makes like 50 to 100K a month, like every single month, very consistently, right? And it's like, through my past few years, I've easily spent on 10 individual discords, like $200 a month, for signals like the ones that Bo gives, or the ones that Shinobi Signals gives, or our crypto analyst, or Brian, our NFT analyst, and we will be adding more analysts across the entire board, right? But like each one of those services could be their own individual subscription. You could pay $100 a month for NFT Alpha. You could pay $100 a month for Swing Alpha. Same thing with Crypto Alpha, right? Same thing with the algorithm. You could pay $2,500 a year for the algorithm. Truth be told, if you're not in Web3 and you find us online through Facebook or through Google or whatever, you're gonna have to pay $2,500 a year, right? And so it's like there are so many different pieces of the value, another piece of value, exclusive investment opportunities. You could easily charge somebody $5K a year to have access to all the investment opportunities that we're going to provide to you guys.
Crazy.
Right? And so what we can do is
It's 2 ETH a year.
And this is part of the roadmap, right? And like this is just a slight, like the reason why I mentioned this is because like we will continue to do things like this over and over and over again, where we're just leading innovation in Web3 because that's what we are, right? Like we want to be the Tesla, we want to be the Apple of NFTs and Web3. Right. And, we also we're working on the media conglomerate side of things as well. We got a TikTok with 90K. We got a YouTube with 1.5K subscribers already. And we got our Twitter profiles. We're just going to continue to grow and essentially have like an entire media outlet where we're just continually able to, increase demand, increase eyeballs and attention onto our ecosystem, because that will serve everybody inside as a holder, because more eyeballs are continually looking and finding us. It's something that Bored Ape did very. It's a good question, and I'd be lying to you if I thought I didn't think about it. But one of the exclusive investment opportunities that we may extend to you guys is being able to invest in a fully fledged YouTube channel for your own passive incomes. We're looking for ways to be able to NFT that.
Okay, I gotta stop this here. I did not hear this on the main AMA. The idea of us as individuals actually being able to invest in a YouTube channel is crazy to me, because currently I see YouTube automation prices, YouTube automation things going for $10,000 with the hope for a $20,000 return by the end of the year, and this is almost a guarantee.
It's crazy. YouTube channels, because obviously 60 to 70K isn't chump change. So maybe you guys can split them, but again, like those types of things just cost so much illegal. You're doing things for the first time that nobody's ever done before. So we need more capital to be able to explore those types of things. But yeah, we definitely are like every.
That's crazy. Crazy to think about.
Truth be told, the auto trader, it gets a little bit tricky for a handful of different reasons. And, really it pertains specifically to, when you talk about like micro caps in crypto or micro caps in the stock market, penny stocks, these are equities and asset classes that are easily manipulated, right? And so there's a lot of legal concerns when it comes to an auto trader, when it comes to something like Marksman. And so, we're working on a lot of that stuff on a daily basis, right? Like our job on the back end is just making sure that we can just continue to add value, continue to provide for you guys. And so we're working on Marksman. It is very early in the process right now. That isn't going to be something that's rolled out immediately after Mint.
So from my understanding, Marksman is an auto trader that Ready Player H and Xan are working on that is going to go beyond what the algorithm can do, which is crazy to think about.
Right. It's going to take some time. And, like even, when we're minting, like these are the things that we need funds for, guys. If we want to do something like provide an auto trader to Steady Stack holders, it's going to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal to really be able to figure out, how we're going to do that, how we're going to roll it out, what stocks or cryptos can you actually trade with it so that there isn't any manipulation, all those types of fun stuff. So, as far as Marksman goes, it's very early on right now. We just want you guys to know that like we're always building, you know what I mean? Like we're building so many fun things. And something that we're actually thinking in terms of Marksman is to potentially only have Marksman as an in-house tool for our auto trader, right, for our own hedge fund, and we allow, for example, Titans to be able to be the first.
Reminder that Xan and Ready Player H want to build their own hedge fund sometime in the future using all of the Web3 tech that they're investing in now.
People who are able to essentially invest in something like that, right? And maybe it would be through another NFT or something like that, right? And that's where the upselling and cross-selling comes into play. But the value is forever, Xan and I, we've been blessed over the past few years to make an amazing network, right? Like we have accesses to things like, IPO allocation, for example. Like we can get access in IPOs in almost anything, almost any IPO that you want, right? Like DoorDash or Airbnb before they came out, long before they came out, right? Like Triller, SpaceX, like all these companies, we have access to invest in them. And it's like, I know, maybe 90% of the people on this call don't. And so if I can just plug one piece of my network into this community and benefit thousands of people, then there's a lot of value that stems from that. That's worth $5K alone, So going back to a little bit about the roadmap, literally nobody has done this yet, and we will be the first. So let's say Titans come out, right? Let's say that they're 5 ETH, okay? And then we drop a yearly subscription pass to the algo. And so since most people can now not buy the Titans, or maybe they don't know if they want the Titans, right? We can split the individual value propositions inside the Titans, and then we can essentially, provide them with a into 5 different subscription
I really
NFTs.
hope they don't go 5e.
And now we can control the supply and demand of those NFTs so that it's not infinite, right? We don't want to dry out the amount of demand for, a certain product that we offer. But let's say that we split it up into 5 different pieces, and now we can offer those pieces onto the open market, let's say for their own 6-month or 12-month subscriptions, right? And then those individual pieces, rise in floor value because they're limited supply and they're in high demand, right? All that's going to do is it's going to raise the inherent value of our titans, okay? So rather than taking a speculative token to be the underlying of our product, we're taking value and utility and making it the underlying of our product. And then who knows, right? Maybe we could have our own ecosystem token where all of those subscriptions you can only buy in, let's say, something like Stack Token, right? Not saying that's what we're going to do, but it may be a good idea for us, right? And so that's how you create an ecosystem token with real world day one utility, and you substantiate your NFT in real world day one utility. And there's less speculation and it's just more value based. Is there still going to be speculation? Yes, but it's still more value based. Are limited to a large degree, and we are looking to push a new age of partnerships and things like that. But for example, with LawReverse, the thing is, I really like LawReverse for a few reasons. Is that the founder of LawReverse, I do align with to a large degree. We have a very similar ethos of a value first approach. They were a free mint. So it goes to show that, man, he was really value first, and now the thing's sitting at 7-8 ETH, right? So it's like that's a good person to be around in the first place. Totally. So, that's why I see merit in him. And, he actually is developing additional tools, additional bots, additional value propositions for his community. For example, being able to get push notifications for Whitelist. He's developing a little tool for it, and he's going to charge $30 a month for it. And, our holders are going to get it for free.
Absolutely. You always talk about these things. I think one thing that's so interesting about your guys' project versus a lot of these, right, is that when you guys talk about your skill set, you guys have a lot of your skill sets you're leveraging right now prior to doing the NFT world. You guys already had the YouTube channel. You talked about it extensively in the past. And then you had the algo. What's so cool about this branding, I think people really are going to start to appreciate as we move forward, is that Steady Stack really opens you up to be able to expand and diversify. All you've done is you've connected the existing values to this, and then by leveraging the mint and almost weaponizing this community, right? Taking the resources, working together to really create more. So you've now opened yourself up to all the logical touch points. Things like, how do you deal with e-commerce? How do you deal with other revenue streams? And I think that's something that's really powerful that is going to really come about as we move forward in the next 1 to 2 years that we're not currently seeing right now because we're all so focused on the algo.
All right, everyone, that is going to wrap up this week's Steady Stackin Weekly AMA Recap. I know that this went way longer than usual, and if there's anyone still listening, I'd be surprised if you are. But if you are still listening at this point in the show, thank you so much for your time. I personally was taking some notes, so sorry if I looked a little distracted. I was noting things down on my phone because the value here is simply unbelievable. If you guys found something in the AMA that you think should be submitted to the show, feel free to reach out to us. This is, of course, a community-created initiative, so thank you so much for your time. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and keep on steady stacking.